Legend says the world was once divided into two different lands. One realm was ruled by humans, and the other was ruled by demons. One day, 6 magical stones fell from the sky into the demon's realm. Inscribed on the stones were the crests of fire, earth, air, water, time, and heaven. Soon, the demons began to fight over these magical crests, and the realm erupted into civil war. Finally, the Red Demon defeated all the others and collected 5 crests. Not satisfied with the crests of fire, earth, air, water, and time, the Red Demon challenged the Demon Dragon for the Crest of Heaven. After a long and desperate battle, the Red Demon slayed the dragon and gained the final crest. But the price of victory was high. The Red Demon was critically wounded. I have defeated the Red Demon. I shall reign supreme. With the power of the crest, both the demon and human world are mine. You know, if this isn't one of the coolest title screens I've ever seen in a video game, I don't know what's going on in my life then. Hello everyone and welcome to Let's Play Demon's Crest, otherwise known as Gargoyle's Quest 3 or Demon's Blazon. We are merely led into our first boss fight against this dragon Somulo, who is basically here to get you used to the controls. Firebrand has not changed much from Gargoyle's Quest 2, rather. But there is one major thing you may be noticing. We have infinite flight to start with this time. It's no longer an upgrade. In fact, the entire upgrade system is almost entirely different this time around. Either way, Somulo's pattern is very simple. He aims where you are. And since we need to hit his head, we need him to aim low, so we need to be standing on the ground for him, for us to be able to actually damage him. Like Arachnus would eventually Metroid Fusion, his fire does spread along the ground if it touches it, but it doesn't if it hits a wall. So basically, it comes down to, do you want this fight to go quickly, or do you want to just tank through any damage you can possibly take? Somulo doesn't take too many hits though. I think he only takes 5 or 6. And with that, we're done here in this Coliseum. And there is a reason Firebrand's here. I'll go over that when I read the manual in a moment or two. And we're free. That doesn't sound good. Somulo's not quite done yet. However, he's somehow easier. Well, then again, it's like his face is stuck in a hole. He tries to do the exact same thing, but you can just get close to him and basically spam projectiles. He's dead in 3 hits. And that's remotely gruesome. But he does drop our first upgrade. Our first life up. Similarly to Demon's Crest 2, there are items for us to find that will up our HP, but there's also all sorts of different upgrades, because this is closer to a Mega Man X Metroidvania kind of game in terms of its main gameplay style. And Firebrand also has a new control. By pressing the A button, you can use whatever forms you're using ability. In this case, a headbutt, which can break certain objects. It doesn't do damage to enemies, though. And you want to break every statue that you see, because sometimes there'll be things in them. Enemies also will drop stuff this time around. They can either drop those little fire and circles, which are your health restorations, or the coins of, like, small, medium, or large, which are just pure currency. And I just got a piece of paper from that statue. That is a vellum. That is our first collectible type we've seen in the game that's not the life expansions. And I'll go over what those are for. It's either this part or next part. But it's already time for our next boss fight. Which, hello? I see the sprite there, but you're going to do anything? You have to headbutt it for the start. Good, basically like a little jump scare boss fight. Our boss fight is a Hippogriff, which for some reason has the power of a Gargoyle. And I'll be honest, this is not my best fight with him. Mind you, the early game for Demon's Crest is not the easiest. In terms of attacks, the Hippogriff can basically either fire 3 feathers diagonally like I think it's about to do right now, or it can do that little dash attack. I think it can also just try to swipe at you in general by dashing towards you, but I might be thinking of another boss fight entirely anyway with that. Not a very complex boss fight, but you do need to be careful here because while you only have 5 hits and you only take 1 damage per, if you're being reckless, you can take a lot of damage really quickly. You know a boss fight's getting close to dead, by the way, in this game, aside from Somulo, when they start glowing red. At that point, they're generally, I'd like to say, last 10 to 25% of their health. I think Hippogriff also can, as you're seeing here, go into his statue form to, like, heal himself. But I'm not sure if that does anything, honestly. Either way, Hippogriff is not a very hard fight. And since I was doing it to the statues earlier, I'm gonna be a dick. Wabam! I do think you need to do this, but I don't quite remember if you can't, I haven't done that in a while. And doing so gives us our next life expansion, 6 out of a total of, I think, 20. You might be thinking, oh, that means we're gonna be in this game pretty quick. Not quite. Some bosses drop life expansions in this game, but most of the ones you find are actually in the world. And this section here, I'll be honest, is basically here just so you can get used to the flying a bit more. Because Firebrand, you need to fly more with Firebrand in this game than any other if you want to have an easy time. Because you needed to in 1 and 2 just to make some platforming. But in Demon's Crest, if you want an easier time, you really need to get used to flying. Now we could go right, or we could fall down here to find a vial. Those will be used to store certain things later on. I'll go over that towards the end of the part, or early next part. I forget which one I show that off in. And now for a giant climbing section. This is also here just so you can get not only more used to the flying, but the fact that Firebrand has the wall cling as usual. Now, in terms of the storyline in the manual, I'll be honest, it's almost exactly what the little intro sequence there was. The only differences are that they actually named Firebrand outright, and the fact that Firebrand vowed revenge on Phalanx, who was the guy who kind of stole our shit. I could have sworn I recall there being a detail that explains why Firebrand was in the Coliseum, but I'm just going to assume that Phalanx, like, imprisoned us or something. And thus made us fight for him. It doesn't really matter, though. It's a video game by Capcom in the 90s. Who cares about the storyline? Either way, we're getting towards the end of the stage, because up here is our actual end-of-stage boss. I've watched your progress, and I'm glad that I shall be the one to put an end to your petty crusade. I believe you've heard of me. I'm Arma. I'll be your executioner. Arma, if I recall, is a general Phalanx, and honestly, he's just here to be our recurring rival character. Arma as a boss fight, though, is pretty simple right now. He only has 2 attacks. This little dash attack that he's doing right there, which he generally does to try and aim at you. He can especially do it really quickly if you're, like, right below him sometimes. And that little energy ball attack, which is really easy to avoid. Honestly, he's a bit annoying right now, but that's mostly because you have so little life relative to the amount of attacks you're probably going to be getting hit with. Plus, at this point, I'll be honest, especially on your first place, you're going to be getting used to Firebrand's control still. And to an extent, I am as well, but that's because I'm still used to Gargoyle's Quest 2 after practicing that a bit more than I have practiced this. Also, I should mention, if you do die here, Demon's Crest has a pretty generous checkpoint system in that basically every screen is another checkpoint. Because when you die, you get 3 options. Retry, stage select, and end. Which I'll get more into what stage select is after we beat this boss fight. I do believe whenever you fight Arma, though, the better strategy is for you not to spam your attacks, but to instead pace them out, because the invincibility frames might be interfering with your shot progress. Not entirely sure about that, though. You do seem to possess the strength people have been talking about. I look forward to our next encounter. Bye. But why did you drop this? Your boss wanted these. You have found the Crest of Earth. With it, you can morph into ground gargoyle and gain great speed and the strength to break stone statues. Basically, in Demon's Crest, Firebrand doesn't only gain breath upgrades, or say, like, jump upgrades. He's basically maxed out on most of those to start. This time around, we're getting new forms to play with. Also, this is our world map, a la Final Fantasy VI's Airship. Press Y to enter areas like this town. And the town here is our main hub, sort of. There's 3 shops here. One defines your tells you what your talismans do. One is a magic shop. The other is a potion shop. We can't do anything with the potion shop yet because it's blocked off, so we need to do other stuff first. But notable, the windows here in town can be headbutted, as you can obviously see me doing. And these are the best way in the game to get money. Grinding here, in my eyes, is the most convenient way to do so. And this is the Ground Gargoyle. The Ground Gargoyle, its A ability, which it was originally the headbutt, is now this dash, which can break stone statues, which you can also just use to jump like that. But as well, its main ability, well, first off, the general was running a uniform something like yours. I saw him run and break one of those fountains of Teases once. That's the demon hobo. He says things depending on what form you're in. Notable as well about the Ground Gargoyle, your main shot now heads towards the ground when you're on the ground, and that does double damage. And to the right is more level, but with that, I'm going to end this off here. Thank you guys for watching, and in part 2, we'll be heading into the reservoir and seeing what we can do from there. See you guys then.